Today's podcast is presented by MusicBed and Wonderless Videos. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is Nick Miller and I am joined by my best good buddy, Mr. John Bunn. John, hello. Happy almost August. It is like this week, it is going to be August, which is BANANAS.
That is correct. I also picked up some BANANAS from the store this morning. So anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Look at you. Yeah.
Neither here nor there. It's almost August. It's crazy. You know what?
Well, I said I know that you have a lot of stuff going on in the next few weeks, and I didn't know if you wanted to, let the listeners kind of in a little bit on what's going on in John Bunn's life.
Yeah. Well, as of this recording being dropped, I am in Montana in the middle of nowhere. I'm not
won't be able to get a hold of you if we want to. Like it's not going to happen.
Not unless I'm at the cabin I'm staying at. Yeah, the cell phone service is bad. You fly into Bozeman and then you drive like 2 hours into the middle of nowhere, and there's little areas off the side of the road that say like cell phone service ahead. So you can like pull in and there's a little pocket of space that does have cell phone service. So you got to like old school do it where you're like, hey guys, I'm leaving the airport. If you don't hear from me in 2 hours, I'll be on this highway. Come find me. We have some family cabin out there, and I'll be there for 8 or 9 days. Excited about that. And then Nick, I get home on a Monday, and then I'm in town for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on that Friday, I'm there on Friday, and then on Saturday, I head to Canada. Yeah. And I'm going to be there for a wedding and to do a vacation from that Saturday until the next Saturday. So we just got back from Denver. Then we're heading a little further up the Rocky Mountains to Montana. Then we're coming back home a little further up. We just keep going further up the Rocky Mountains as it gets hotter here in the States. So, yeah, that's what I'm up to.
How long before you hit the North Pole?
It'd probably be another 6 weeks if we keep going. So we'll see if I get there. First time in Canada, actually, so that'll be fun. The family's going on both those trips. We're going to Banff, which is fun to say, and it is prettier to look at. That's what's going on there. I'm working on some secret stuff that behind the scenes for How to Film Weddings in the fall. Some things you might want to, just stay tuned, and you might hear about them sooner than later. Some Easter eggs there, but yeah, we might be doing some stuff in the fall. And what's good with you?
Oh, I'm just living my life. Here in a couple weeks, the same week that John goes to Canada, I am going to Oregon because I am speaking at Cody Stanton Giles, Film by Stanton, his retreat for Rome. It's called Rome Retreat. And so I am presenting there, and I'm really excited about that. And then just kind of going to gear up for the fall, and then I'll be back in Oregon like a month later for a wedding in Eugene. And so I'm going to, kind of be a small Oregon citizen for a couple of weeks. And so anyway,
You're not that small. You're pretty tall.
I am a little tall. So anyway, but things are going well. Things are going good here. I had a phone call with a couple that seems to be very much a dream kind of client, the kind of client that I would love to work with. And so sent them a proposal, and we'll see how that goes. But that would be in California in October. So we'll see how that goes. And John, today we're going to do we're trying something a little different that I don't think that we've done in our 350, however many episodes we've done here. We are just going to, we have a question today, and it is, how important is filming blank on the wedding day from a perspective of a wedding videographer for everything that we do? I posted a question in our Facebook group this last week. It was, how important is filming the wedding reception? Got lots of different wedding details. Not the reception details, yes. Filming those, how important is that? And I got lots of responses, kind of the whole gamut from 3 out of 10 important to one of the most important things you can do. So we thought it'd be fun to kind of take that to the whole wedding day and answer that question. And we're going to get into that. But before we do, I want to mention our friends over at MusicBed. They are the source for your wedding music licensing platform. They have the best music that you can use. It is an incredible platform. It is very intuitive. Their AI search feature, you can put in any musical artist that you can think of. Say, I want a song kind of like this, and MusicBed will find you 50 to 100 songs that are in a similar tone or vibe or something that can really help you with your music selection process. We love MusicBed. John and I have been exclusively using them for 10 years each, if not longer. Love the platform. And right now, if you head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed, there you can sign up for a 14-day free trial. So you can try it free for 2 weeks, and they'll even let you license, I think it's up to 3 songs that you can use just to experience what the platform is like. So check out MusicBed. We love everything that they do over there. So John, now we're shifting over into this little podcast here. How important is filming blank on the wedding day? Before we really move on and continue talking, I wanted to say that as we're talking about these things, John, it's kind of like what's important to you as the filmmaker, understanding who your client is. And so John and I, we have a really good idea of who the client is that we want to work with. And so I think this is in a perfect world, the client trusts us, or the client, wants us to do our thing. This is going to be our importance. But if getting certain details or certain things that we're talking about is really important to the client, then that is going to shift how I film and how I go about these things. Especially if you are working with a very high-end florist or a high-end planner, like you're probably going to make detail stuff a bigger priority if you want to continue to work with them. And so as we get into asking all these questions, like we're going to kind of give you our thoughts on it, but it also kind of comes back to what you want to do as a filmmaker, who you are trying to reach, and who you are trying to connect with. And I'm going to start it off with how important is filming establishing shots on the wedding day?
It's important. Is that what you want me to do? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Maybe this whole podcast is just one word answers. It's like, how important is this? Yep, it is.
That's
nope, important. It's not. That we don't even talk about it anymore.
Establishing shots, you're talking about if you're trying, especially if you're trying to tell more story-based films and show where you are or kind of establish the setting. I think it's very important. It's a great way to be creative. A lot of people just show a drone shot or different things, but which isn't bad. But I would say that it's not going to break your film, but I think it can make your film. And I just think getting out of the box and thinking, how can I establish this location, whether it's the bride's prep room or the wedding venue or the city that you're in or the vehicle that they're in or any of that kind of stuff. Like those kinds of establishing shots are important. And I think that you can be really creative with them, and it adds a lot to your film. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where it allows, like if you remove the couple from who's going to watch this, right? The couple and their family, their immediate family, their immediate friends, they're going to know everything. But if you're looking at from a storytelling filmmaker standpoint, letting people know where the events are taking place is going to help with that story. And so I think establishing shots are important, definitely. Now if there's a time crunch or something like that, then maybe you need to figure things out. But I would not overlook at least getting a few so you can say, hey, here we are at the reception venue. Here we are at the ceremony venue. Here we are. Oh, you're getting married in downtown New York City. So you walk outside and, you film some of the city or something like that. I think those establishing shots are going to be really important from an edit side of things in telling that story. So
how important are they? They're pretty important.
I would say pretty.
Yeah,
pretty.
On a scale of 1 to 10, they're pretty important.
Yeah, maybe that's how we should do it. We should do a scale of 1 to 10 and then not give a number.
Yeah, I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to say they're pretty important. Okay, so the next thing on this list here, Nick, how important is filming your flat lay flat, the details that the photographer kind of sets up a lot of times, the little perfume bottles and the little details and that kind of thing.
Okay, this is one, and I know photographers love this, but from a video side of things, for me personally in my business, I am putting this at the bottom of importance to film. For me and what I like to, now, if it's there and it's set up, I'm going to film it, but I'm using this as more of a transition piece, B-roll, to kind of get from, the bride is getting ready and I want to go to the groom getting ready. How do I transition from those two scenes in my film? I might, show some B-roll of, the flat lays or something like that. So, but this is not something, if I miss it, me personally, I am not going to get upset about it. I would rather film these things on the bride, on the groom, with some movement or some motion or something that's going on with that. So I'm putting low to medium, low importance, 1 to 10 on this for me.
So on a scale to 10, not very. For me,
I'd say low. Okay.
Yeah. For me, I think that just filming what the photographer puts out is very low importance. But I do think, especially if you're wanting, you're working with clients that have spent a lot of money on details, they love seeing their details. They love seeing, and like our friends at White and Reverie did a really good job. I remember sitting at a workshop with them talking about adding movement to kind of the flat laser establishing shots and dropping like flower petals. And I just did a wedding where the photographer did all the imagery inside on a table. I got some shots of it, like Nick is saying, but I was like, let's take this outside. There was a white bar underneath a tree and the sun was kind of like shining through and the leaves were moving. And I was like, let's stick it in this spot in the sun where the leaves are kind of moving, and it added some, and there were some literal leaves kind of falling on it and stuff like that. And I was able to capture some of those details with sunlight, movement, different things. And I think it's really beautiful. And I think it was an area where I could creatively flex a little bit. The photographer ended up using those shots. Again, would it break my film? No. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it's mid important. I think it could get there, but okay. Next one, hot take, the hanging wedding dress.
Again,
Nick, how important is filming this on a wedding day? Scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah. Again, the hanging wedding dress, I am going to say low priority. Bottom, for the same reason of the flat lays. I want to film the dress, but I want to film it on the bride. I want to film it whenever she is putting it on or moving or walking, through a field. That's the same thing as moving. I want to get movement in the film, movement in the details, and that's the kind of thing that I am looking for. Now, I know that if it's there, it's set up, we're going to film it like that. I think that's the thing is I am going to be filming most of these things or all of these things throughout the wedding day. I'm just kind of looking at it as if I weren't going to get this, is it going to ruin the film or ruin what I'm doing? But again, I would rather film the dress on the bride and show the details that way than just have it hanging there on a hanger in the wall. The only caveat would be is if there's some place that's really cool, or it's, they're getting married in the mountains and there's all these foresty trees and stuff, and I can hang the dress from that. Like that could be cool to me if it like enhances where the couple is getting married. But again, if it's just hanging up in a hotel room or hanging up, in the venue getting ready room, like to me, low importance again. What do you have to say?
I'm very similar to this as I am the flat lay. I do think just the word intention comes to mind. Like, what is the intention behind the hanging dress? Are you just filming it because it's like, well, a photographer set it up? To me, I've done it to where the dress is hanging and I'm like, hey, bride, come up there and just like straighten up the dress as it's hanging, or take it off the hanger, or like, adding some kind of storyline to it that adds intention to it. And then depending on the dress itself, if it's just like a satin dress that has very beautiful but not any major details, no, it's like, I'll film it. But I do, as I like, more of the finer things in my films, I do like to find really beautiful light and beautiful spots to put a dress and then have something happen with the dress. But I do like to get those tighter details when it's not on her, especially if there's stuff in like the bust line and things that I want to because I think it's weird to have my camera just right up against a bride as she's got it on, getting those details. So, that's just some of the things. But yeah, if I don't get this, or there's been many weddings where we don't even have time, and same thing with the flat lays. I'm like, doesn't ruin anything at all. I would much rather focus on the movement of the dress on the bride or things like that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, yeah, I'm going to go into the mid-range as well.
The next part of the day, John, how important is filming gifts? And you can kind of answer this how you want. This could be between couple, between parents, between bridal party. How important is filming gift giving to you?
Yeah. It's changed a lot in the last couple of years, where it used to be like you would film the exchange of the gift, where like the best man brings the gift from the groom. And like, especially at some of my country club weddings, they're about to do the exchanging of the letters or the exchanging of the gifts. And I'm like, I care intentionally about like reactions to them opening a gift or different things. But a lot of times that's not included in their full film. It would be something that they get in their raw footage. And I film a lot of things for raw footage for them that I know aren't going to be in so a lot of times it just depends on the intentionality of the gift. And if there's something that is really important, like we're going to, I'm going to give her my grandma's pearls to wear on the wedding day, or I bought him a Rolex $20,000 watch and it's like he's wanted one his whole life, or whatever. If it's something like that, I want to make sure that I'm capturing it and their reaction and things like that. But, if it's a little gift or a little, like it doesn't, again, if it's important to the couple to get it covered, I will film it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it's a little more than medium importance, especially if the couple wants it. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to go in there with the medium to, I don't know, above 50%, especially if the gift is something very sentimental. Like I actually, just this last week, I uploaded a reel on our Wild Oak Instagram account where the mother gave her daughter some earrings that the mom received from her, the dad on their wedding day, 25, 30 years ago. And she gave those to her daughter as kind of a keepsake heirloom. And like that moment was really, really sweet. And so whenever we can, again, we're filming these things, but I like sentimental stuff. Like you were saying, I like things that have importance. And then again, if it's a gift, it's a watch, it's something that means something more than, oh, here's just happy wedding day, here's a gift. If it has that sentimental value, capturing it in whole. But unless it's just a really special moment, I am probably more like you, like this is going to be good for the doc edit if they decide to get those things. But it can be, above a high mid importance to that. So.
Yeah. Clear as mud. Yeah. On the 1 to 10 scale.
Clear as mud. I like our little scale here. It's really fun. Mm-hmm. It's really fun. Yeah,
it's scientific, I think so. I feel like it's scientific.
Very scientific. Okay. I'll ask this one and then I'll start answering it. How important is prep for on the wedding day? And I think that this is something that can add a lot. I'm gonna go high on this, the getting the makeup done and hanging out with the girls, or the guys, whether it's playing the little shuffleboard game in their room. I was at a venue and they had the little board thing, it's at the bar game or whatever, or going out and golfing and just hanging out with the guys. Like, I think that these moments are important. I will say though that for most wedding filmmakers, the girls getting ready seem to overshine the guys getting ready. And I know that I mean, the guy, if he's there, he's getting married too, and he is important too. And so I'm going to say that they're both important, but maybe I don't want to say that the guy is more important, but more of the guy needs to be captured than. Like that's kind of my struggle, is just kind of running, okay, get these few things. But I think as I'm looking at my business, it would be nice if I got more of the guys getting ready and the guys. What do you have to add?
Yeah, I know we're not here to just talk about prep itself. I think prep is very high importance, up at the top of the scale. Just what are we there for if we're not capturing just what they're doing during the day? But like you said, I feel like, especially in a wedding with a bride and a groom, a lot of the times the groom kind of gets the shaft when it comes to footage of them. And people just do, like, I think the thing I would say if you're listening is just don't just do what everybody else is doing. Think creatively. What can you do with the guys? Like, we were at a wedding a couple months ago and the guys were like, oh, sorry, we're going to have to hurry to get over to the getting ready place. We're just all in the pool playing volleyball. And I was like, don't move. Just keep doing that and keep drinking and having fun. Blake will be right over, and like Blake filmed them in the pool. And that's way more intentional. And those kinds of shots, you know, they got a beer in their hand and they're just having a good time and their sunglasses on. And it's like they're just playing in the pool and having a good time, instead of like all the guys, you know, stuffed up in a tiny room that no one thought about for them. Or and then also I will have Blake, whenever he's shooting with me, it's like take an extra 30 minutes and just do more stuff. Like have the guys, you know, be models for you. Like get in there and do stuff, have them sit on the stairs with the lights hitting just right, have them, you know, do different things. And again, same thing with like the establishing shots. It's like, yeah, you can get that one shot of the drone of the venue from afar, or like, yeah, you can get the shot of the groom like just fixing his tie or whatever, but it's like that's the same as the last wedding and the same as the wedding before that and the same as and so to me, this is a 10 out of 10 on something that you can get creative with. And the same thing with the girls, you can be creative on not just them sitting in their room or whatever, but like what are they doing during the day? How can you tell that story? And those are the things I think if I'm hiring a videographer, that it's like, wow, that was so cool that they captured that. So prep, very important. Scale of 1 to 10, very important. Okay, moving on in the day, you know, after your prep happens, there's a lot of different first looks that happen during the day now. You got first look with dad sometimes, first look with bridesmaids, first look with the brother, first look with the groom, first look with the planner. It's just like, okay, people, like there's so many first looks. But what are your thoughts, Nick? And on a scale of 1 to 10, don't forget, on all of the first looks.
On all of these. Okay. On all of the first look. I think that this is one that I'm going to say from a couple's perspective, that all of the first looks are important. Like a scale of 1 to 10, very super, really duper important for them. Okay. From me as a filmmaker and telling the story, I don't know if having 5, 6 first looks, which seems to be, you know, a trend that a lot of people are doing. We're having a first look with our girls. We're having a first look with dad. You know, I've seen now grooms are starting to have first looks with their mom, you know, which is really, really nice and really sweet. I had a first look with a couple and their dog. You know, and then the couple's first look together, you know, there's just all of this stuff. And I think, for me as a filmmaker, it could be high importance depending on the one, but also whenever you have multiple of them, like to me, they're less and less important whenever you add extra layers to that. And then also, how genuine are the reactions? Like it's kind of like in telling the story, if it's a very genuine reaction, like I like that. But there's so many times, you know, when the bride's like, I want to do a first look with my brother, and he's like, you look good. You know, what is that really adding to the overall story? So I'm going to say it's very dependent on how many and what it is, but it could be high, very, very important, but it could also be kind of mid.
I think cover them all, film them all. I think if a bride is just like, I'm going to do a first look with all these people, like the wedding I did, I don't know, a couple months ago, the bride did a first look with her brother in that he was like, you look great. And she was like, thanks. And that was about it. And so that doesn't have to be in my final film just because like that happened or whatever. And, you know, that's the thing to be thinking about with your intentionality when it comes to The first looks themselves, I do think they're really important, especially between the couple if they do one. The parents, like the father to me is really important, and so all that is super important. It just depends on what you're doing. If you're not really into getting deep emotions, like capture those things, but maybe don't put them in the edit, so that way more people that hire you aren't going to want to do that. So before we move on, I want to talk to you real fast about our very own LUT pack, the How to Film Weddings Luxe LUT pack, powered by Gamut. Guys, I know a lot of you use these, but if you don't know, we have our very own LUT presets. They are very, what would you say, Nick, high-end and bougie and luxurious? I mean, that's kind of the vibe.
Yeah, very film-esque.
Yeah, they're what I've been using exclusively now since Kaylin built them for me. But definitely a true to color, high fashion beauty line of LUTs. And if you head over to howtofilmweddings.com/LUTS LUTs, you can check those out. We've got some promos. We've got all kinds of things. If you're looking to upgrade the quality of your colors, be sure to check out our LUT pack. Nick, moving in line with the day, what next up would be kind of, after you get some of those first looks and stuff, the ceremony itself, and the filming the whole ceremony, just the idea of like, where does that stack with you on like the ceremony? How important on a scale of 1 to 10 would you say ceremony is for your wedding film?
I put this at the very, very top of the importance for me personally. It's like this is the entire reason why we are there. This is the ceremony that happens, the vows that you are making, the commitments that you're making to each other. All that stuff. I think it is very, very important. But again, I know that I have learned in doing this for 12 plus years that this isn't as important necessarily to the couple to get and have the entire ceremony edit, but it might be really important to mom or dad or someone else. I know there are people that don't offer, the ceremony, and they just kind of capture what they want to capture. And it's like, okay, I'm going to make sure I get the vows, and I'm going to make sure I get them walking down and walking out and the kiss and like those kind of things. But it's not a like doc style edit. I think for what I like to do and the values that I have as a wedding filmmaker, I am putting this at very, very high priority, is filming the ceremony in full. But again, what's important to you as a filmmaker, what's important to your couples and that sort of stuff. So John, where would you put this on 1 to 10?
Tippy top high priority for me and my brand. But like you said, this might be something to where you're just offering highlights and, but yeah, to me, with the cheapness of cameras these days, like good quality, just like C cam or B cam, that's just a safe high and wide kind of angle with how cheap, lapel mics can be and audio, like it's just too inexpensive to not do it. And the thing about a ceremony for me is like, it is the backbone obviously of the whole day. And while you're there, why the wedding is happening is for the ceremony. You never know what's going to happen during, you never know what the emotions are going to be. You never know the reactions from people, and just where everybody's all in one place, all looking right up there at the couple. So you can, in a very short amount of time, get footage of all the important people watching and their reactions and these vows, and all these moments happen that are going to be cherished for, a lifetime. So yeah, I think filming it in full from multiple angles is very high priority. If you're a solo shooter, just throwing up at least one wide safe camera just so you have it. I don't see why you wouldn't put this at the very top. So Nick, after a ceremony happens, a lot of times we're talking, things get a little bit crazy. The ceremony ends, the important people to the couple are staying for pictures, the cocktail hour is happening, there's portraits. But so right after, a lot of times would be where the photographer kind of takes over and starts saying, family photos are happening now. There's a bunch of big groupings, 20 minutes or so of time where the photographer's just kind of in a pretty spot and somebody's saying, the Hernandez family, go up. This family, go up. Aunts, uncles, cousins, go. And it's just kind of click, 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 repetitive type stuff. Where would you say This on a scale of 1 to 10, family formals, that kind of stuff. What are you thinking about during this time? How important is this?
Yeah, I think for me and what I like to use and what I like to do, this is below the 1 to 10 for me. And I think it's because there's no movement. It's, hey, stand here, look at this and smile. And my thought has always been, they're getting a photo of this. Why do they need a video that's exactly the same thing? Like, it's kind of losing the purpose of the intention of the video. I would say where I have used these kind of things in the past is, whenever the bride is talking about his family or her family or something like that. And it's a nice kind of segue to kind of show the things that they are talking about. I will say that this started to shift, change a couple of years ago whenever I filmed a photography friend of mine's wedding. And she said that her favorite photos that she went back and looked at were their family formal ones. And she was like, that really surprised me. I don't know what it was within me, but I loved those the most on my wedding day is, the family formals that I got to see. So, if it's possible to cover those and capture those, we are doing that. But I am going to put this, like, if family formals, cocktail hour, and reception details all are happening at the same time, to me, family formals is at the bottom of the list. And then, the reception and cocktail hour is going to go above that is my thought. So what do you have to say?
There's a lot usually going on. You're tearing down the ceremony. You're getting your tripods put away. You're making sure, it's like sometimes they're going straight from the ceremony into a reception. Sometimes they're going into a cocktail hour, like all these people. And so being a higher end wedding filmmaker, it's like I definitely need to get all the details of the reception space and all that. And that usually is the time when that's happening. The room's finally set up, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I have to pull priority being like, hey, myself, I'm going to get these reception details. But second shooter, go, tear down the ceremony, get audio set up for the reception, and then get right back over to family formals. And depending on if I've gotten all the reception details, if family formals are still going on, I do want to capture at least a few of them just so like they can see them. And the ones I'm thinking about are like the bigger groups with different people and things like that. But I'm not using it in the edit, and it's hard for me. Like, it's rare. I'll use maybe 1 or 2 shots if they're talking about family, like you said. But I think that, again, it's just using what a photographer is giving you. And if you've done your job to know that grandma's important, get some footage of her interacting with her granddaughter during the day in a different way. Like, I don't think that you want a clip of your grandma just going smile at a different camera. I think you want a clip of you and your grandma hugging or holding hands, or a shot of your hand in your grandma's hand. Like, that's really a lot more important for me in the kinds of films I'm doing. And again, I think a lot of us just unintentionally do whatever the photographer's doing because photography has always been kind of the king when it comes to what's more important. And instead, like, a lot of times it'll be the groom with his family, and then the bride and the grandma are just standing over there. I'm like, hey, you guys get over here real quick. Just give each other a hug. Like, I want to film you guys. Or like, hold their hand real quick. I want to get a shot of your hands. Or like, what do you think of your granddaughter? Like, just, and film it. Like, and try to help create little moments with people, as opposed to, well, I have to film this because this is the only time I'm going to get a shot of grandma. It's like, well, you don't have to do that. Like, you can know that grandma's important and find time throughout the weekend or the day or whatever. And so the actual family formals themselves, though, I focus on the in-between moments. So if I'm filming it, it's like I'll film while the photo's happening, but I don't just cut as soon as they're done with the photo. I'm like trying to see how people interact with the couple and things like that. And so that's what I'm thinking with family formals. We talked about it, Nick, for a sec, but cocktail hour is usually happening at that time. For you, importance level, where does cocktail hour hit?
I think the older I get, it is creeping up the list of importance. And the reason that is because this is the time where you can film all of the people that are there that aren't immediate family, right? That everyone was invited for a reason. And so showing these people relaxed, having a good time, having a drink, talking. And I think that people like to see their people in the finished film. And it's just kind of a nice, it can be a nice transition as you're telling kind of the story from getting from point A to point B, just showing those things. I think it's a little above mid importance to me, but as I get older and I talk to more people and I see what people are interested in, it's moving up that list. What do you have to say?
I love cocktail hour footage, especially like the John Bunn Films brand is more of an upscale, luxurious vibe is what I'm going for, with like a very heavy intentional nostalgia in it as well. And so I do love everybody, usually the light is really good. If it's outside, everyone's still really fresh because they haven't been dancing like crazy. They're having a good time. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of laughter. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of interacting. It's a great way to get, I love getting some drone shots during a cocktail hour, or just pretty people hanging out, talking to each other on my 70 to 200, just nice compression, nice, snipe some good shots or whatever. I think it's really important to the story, and those people are important to the couple. And I just think it adds another layer of telling the story. And whenever, a lot of times during the ceremony, the officiant will say something like, we're all gathered here, like or someone will say there's never going to be a time where all these people are in the same room or what. And like that pairs really well with footage of the cocktails and stuff. And there's usually a lot of personal details at the cocktail hour, personal drinks, like specialty drinks that the couple has, little straws that have their dog's face on it or whatever, like little things that are really pretty details. And I think that it really elevates if you're, and it shows the vibe of the wedding. Like the cocktail hour is filled with the people dressed the way the couple wants them to. It's like if it's a cocktail hour at a resort in Cabo, they're all at a pool or all wearing their beach clothes or whatever. And it's like, oh, this is a beach wedding. It's relaxed. It's cool or whatever. Or if it's like a really formal event and they've got the past hors d'oeuvres and the people handing out the food in their tuxedos or whatever. It's like, oh, this really helps explain where we're at and what it felt like to be at that event. So to me, scale to 1 to 10, it's pretty up there. What's next?
I love the scale. I love the scale. Oh, okay. How important is filming couple portraits or couple time on the wedding day? I think I have a hot take on this, but I'm gonna put it as very, very high importance. Like, top of the thing, because it is the couple's wedding day and you want to film them. I will say, I think that most filmmakers focus a lot on this and kind of use it as a crutch to cover up other parts of the wedding day that they weren't able to capture. So I think that it is really important to capture, but when it comes to the edit, I think that, I don't know what to do, so here, we're just going to put the couple in kissing, or I don't know where to go in the film, and so I'm going to just put them, which it's good B-roll to have, and it's good things to cover, but I think that because it is such a high importance thing to film, that it, at times, couple portrait stuff can be overused in the edit. Was that a hot take? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I agree. I personally think, and this might be a hot take, that if you can't get what you need in 8 minutes with the couple, that you're not doing the proper job. Nick's got his head tilting up and down. I just think that a lot of times we do use it as it's like we need 45 minutes with a couple right here and then 45 more at sunset. And sometimes you're just filming 6 hours with a couple on a wedding day at a venue. It's all in one spot. And I get it. Like you want some variety and different things like that. But I think a lot of us do lean heavily on just, I'll cover that up. Like you're saying, like, I don't have a good this, so I'll just throw back over to another shot at sunset. Or it's just 80% of the footage of the wedding film is just the couple kissing and looking, off into the distance. And it's like that kind of stuff is great. I think that people want more of the realness, especially in 2024 and beyond. And they would just want to be with they're getting wise to the fact that it's like, no, I just want to be with my family and friends and have a good time. And they get the importance. But to me, I do think it's important. But like, if I didn't get footage of just the couple together on the wedding day during portraits, I don't think my film would still be great. I think I would still show them together in their vows and whatever, but sometimes, especially the more that you charge, you don't get that much time with them. And so, but it's always nice. Like the wedding I did in Georgia in April, it was like we did a portrait session, just them in their like engagement photo kind of clothes, and then portraits of them on a boat, and then portraits of them on a beach, and then their wedding day portraits. And then after hours on the golf course, we brought lights out and lit them up and have some really cool footage of like, I like getting a lot of footage of the couple, but I think it's important, but I think a lot of us, like you said, use it as a crutch. So
yeah, I really like what you said there about, if you can't get stuff in 8 minutes, like you're overdoing it. And I think that is, you are right with the younger generation. I mean, I sound old when I say that. The younger generations, the Gen Zs, as they're getting older, like the people that they're there mattered. Like that's another thing that I think, the pandemic from a few years ago, it's like people whittled down their lists of guests and stuff. And like, I only care like, these are the 40 people that I want to be there. Like, I don't care to have a lot of people. And so spending time with them is really important, on the wedding day. And so, yeah, I think that I love it how people like go to cocktail hour, like enjoy that. Like, you're not going to have that again, and go see all those people. So, again, filming the couple is important, but I think on the edit side of things, we use it as a crutch. And John, we have a couple more things that we want to touch on, but before we do that, I want to mention our friends over at Wanderlust Videos. They are one of our vetted outsourcing partners. They do great work over there. And if you go over to howtofilmweddings.com/outsourcing, you can actually get 15% off of your first project with Wanderlust Videos using the promo code 15-HTFW. So that's howtofilmweddings.com/outsourcing for 15% off of your first project with Wanderlust Videos. Reach out to them and do it soon before, the fall busyness gets here. So Wanderlust Videos, great partner for us here at How to Film Weddings. So John, this is the question that I posted in our Facebook group. How important is filming reception details on the wedding day? The wide gamut of reaction from people in the Facebook post. What is your gut? What do you say about reception details?
Yeah. And I read a lot of those answers. And what I found is that depending on who your clientele is and who you're serving, the importance goes up, especially if you're charging more. And it's not just superficial, like I want to show off my money, but like, showing off the details in a way that's beautiful, that helps tell the story, that shows the elegance or beauty of the event, the location, the flowers, the paper, the details, the plates, the table setting, everything, the big wide room, so you can really feel what it felt like. My couples really want to see all that because they poured 2 years of their life into planning, and they care about details and the cohesiveness of it, and the planner and them have worked really hard together to do that. I do feel like, though, similar to the portraits with the couple, some people just have beautiful weddings, and so they can just show off money being spent, and there's no depth at all to the film. And it's hard to get a lot of depth in the films whenever you don't get much access to your clients, or if you're doing high luxury weddings. But it can be the same kind of crutch that you use couple footage for, where it's like, oh, well, let me just throw another gimbal shot of the reception room, or let me show some more tight details, or some like more of where their flowers are crazy, and so it's, again, intentionality behind it, I think, makes a difference. For me, I love showing off the spaces because the spaces are beautiful and they make my work look better, and they help me to tell the story of what this reception was like. And it's the personality of the couple just infused all over to the reception itself, and it's what they love and they want to see it. And I want to be creative in how I capture it. When I first got going, I remember doing weddings at, where the same place where they do the county fair, and it was just a room and had dirt in it. It's like, I don't think that couple wants that much wide details of their reception space. So depending on the kinds of weddings you're doing, to me, I care more about the relationships and the people, but I like to layer those in while being able to see this beautiful hanging floral arrangement over the dance floor. Or, but again, if I didn't get to film reception details, I don't think that it ruins my film. If I have 5 minutes to get reception details, that's enough time for me. The film will be better if I have 15 or 20 minutes, but like I also don't need an hour of that amount of time. So on a literal scale of 1 to 10, I would probably say for me, it's up there.
It's up there. A literal scale. It is up there. One of the things that kept on coming up in that post is who is your client when it comes to the reception details. And I think that so many filmmakers, especially when you first get started, or that first time that you work with a planner that you really like, or a florist that you really like and their design is really nice or something, you forget that the planner or the florist could potentially be your client as well. And so you kind of focus on the people, which is great, and it's going to serve the clients very well. But if it's a beautiful, wedding reception where the floral budget, was $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, like if they spent a lot on that stuff, I'm sure that the planner, that the florist would love to have footage of that and would love to see those details and things. And they are going to refer you a lot. You would much rather have a referral from, I think, a planner that could get you a handful of weddings each year than a couple that, yes, they might refer you a few times, but their list of friends that are going to be getting married is pretty finite, where a planner is going to be constantly in contact with those people. And so I think that they are very, very important on that scale. Also, if you're more of a, the details don't matter to us, that's like, I don't see anything wrong with that if that is your approach and you're like, we want to focus on people and we want to focus on that sort of stuff. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that approach. I just know where I am in my business and the things that I want to focus on, and I know where I'm going to get potential referrals and stuff. Filming the reception details can be very, very important, super high on the 1 to 10 scientific scale.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good rating for sure. So reception details, obviously there's a lot of things that go on in the reception, dancing, that sort of stuff. The celebration side of things, the couple dancing together, the couple dancing with their parents, the grandma getting out there on the floor, all the best friends, everybody getting a little loose, having a drink, having a good time. The dancing and the party footage on a scale for me is up there in, importance. But I also I think a lot of people are like, well, I got my 5 or 6 dancing shots, so I'm good. I personally lean towards just making sure I'm covering it a lot. I don't want to overshoot it, and I'm good standing there with the camera at a certain point and not filming stuff just to film it. But I think a lot of people are like, well, I got my stuff, so I'm going to bow out, or I got my stuff, and they're not thinking of it from this is this couple's party. And I'm just ready in case something happens. I hear cheering. It's like, oh, the mom and dad did something on the dance floor, started dancing. Like, I'm just paying attention. Like, oh, that's really sweet. Like, this could be the last time that grandma and grandpa have a dance together. I'm going to film that, or I'm going to so to me, it is very important to just see how everybody is enjoying the party and how people are interacting. But I don't think it's super important to film everybody, especially if you know that it's like somebody that was a +1 that isn't super important to the couple, or the people for me with the weddings I'm seeing them all weekend long, and I'm seeing who's really important, and I'm just wanting to make sure I capture all these people having fun together, because that's the point of the reception, is them having a good time. And so I think it's, on the scale of 1 to 10, it's really up there for me. But I don't think you have to just get 3 hours worth of usable footage. I do like to stay until the end, but that's just so I can be, in case there's anything, I don't want to miss it. What about you?
Yeah. Formal dances, obviously I want to film those. I think that those are moments, again, that's going to be like the first look's going to be more important to the couple than to me. Using a lot of that in my finished films. I like to have those moments because, I found that often that's really the only interaction that I have of groom and his mom, is on the dance floor. So I really do like to include, those kind of things in the film. But as far as capturing the whole first formal dances, like those aren't as from me, but I know that they are for the couple. So I want to include those. And then when it comes to dancing stuff, I think that this is one that I'm going to film a lot. I tend to, especially when it's like I'm there for 11 hours, 12 hours on a wedding day, I'm going to overshoot dancing at the reception just because I'm there for 3 hours filming stuff. So what am I going to capture, what I'm going to do? And so I think it is important, and especially if there are something interesting going on, right? They lift the bride and the groom up in chairs or start throwing them, or they get on their shoulders, or they have champagne sparklers where they're bringing out and they're like lit on fire, like crazy sort of stuff. I'm going to capture those things that is going to add some stuff to the film. But I think that I have learned the longer I've done this to kind of pare back the amount of shooting that I'm doing at dancing, because in the edit, whenever you have too much of dancing, unless something just really interesting is going on, it can really bog down and mess with the pacing of your film. So I mean, it's important. Again, obviously, picturing those people that are important to them and filming them. The one time that I did any revisions on a film, the groom was like, hey, you had like 8 dancing shots, and there are, in 7 of those shots, I don't know the people. There are people that my wife's mom invited, and like we didn't necessarily care to have them there, but to make mom happy, and so I swapped out some shots to people that were more important for them. And so that's another thing I've learned is, like you were saying, focusing on the people that matter the most to them there. So, again, another high, mid, high importance for the film.
So we're basically saying, as we wrap up, that most things are important, depending on what you're doing. My feedback is the word intentionality. And we hit on this really hard in our mastermind group or in our courses. Like, don't just do stuff because everybody else is doing stuff. But then also, this wedding is not about you. Yes, you want to get your footage, you want to make a name for yourself and whatever. But like, if your filter is, I'm filming this for the couple, as if the couple were the only ones to see it, they would want me to film this moment and at least give this to them in their raw footage. Maybe it's not what you're going to edit into their film or whatever, but paying attention to the intention behind certain things instead of just looking at it as like your video shoot. Oh, I want to get this shot. I got to get this shot list. It's like empathizing with the people and what's going on during the day, the emotion, all the different things, so that you're not making it what you want it to be. You're capturing what it is, or helping people to be in their moment a little bit more, or a little bit. And that to me is what's so beautiful about doing wedding films, is like every couple is different. What's important to them is different. And so if you just go into all of your wedding films with the same exact attitude too, of like, this is not important. Well, it might be really important to that person that hired you. And so just knowing your couples, knowing the planner that you're working with, knowing what, deliverables you want to give to people will help you determine what's important and how important filming whatever it is on the wedding day itself.
Yes, absolutely. So, I hope that you're taking some of the stuff that we're saying. Maybe it's you do something the opposite, or you're not thinking how we're thinking, and that is totally okay. But being intentional and doing stuff purposeful on the wedding day is really what matters. John, I want to say thank you to our friends over at Music Bed and Wonderlust Videos for sponsoring this video. Thank you guys for all that you do for the How to Film Weddings community. And if you're compelled, you want to really spice up your color grading in your films, head over to howtofilmweddings.com/LUTs. That is LUTS, and pick up those Lux LUT pack powered by Gamut. It's really an incredible thing, and can look really, really nice on your edit. So John, as always, it has been fun to hang out with you and chat with you for a while. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, we will see ya.
See ya.